This is Tom Clancy's The Division 2. We're here on Xbox Series S, where the game is optimized for next gen. That's right, we're getting 1080p at 60 FPS with HDR support. Although I have noticed on the Series S, it does seem like some textures take a little bit of time to load in, which is a little bit weird, but once they do, it is actually, quite good looking. It does actually look quite nice. I think that's sort of the case with this game across the platforms, as you'll kind of notice, like, textures kind of appearing, and then once they're there and they're good and you're roaming around, it's just kind of very clean running and good looking. So this one, yeah, it does actually look quite sharp when everything is available within the world, within this Tom Clancy universe title. And I did actually like The Division 2. I actually think this is a very interesting continuation of, how do I get in here? Continuation of the series. You get to go to a new location. Right now I'm not in a new spot. I'm in the DLC area, which is like the Warlords. But I got trapped here. Never wanted to sit there and kind of burn through the sort of leveling to beat the final boss area thing, but yeah, I got just kind of stuck in this place. So yeah, you're actually in the good old Washington area and everything like that, and then you end up going, if you want, to this DLC to continue the expansion, like it's an expansion story to it. So it actually improves like levels and, all that kind of stuff. So this is an RPG series where, it can feel, I guess you would say, a little bit spongy in regards to, kind of the gameplay and shooting enemies, because enemies, it's an RPG, so they need to take a lot of shots, so some people are like, oh, it's quite spongy. Even myself, I feel like at times the enemies are very, very spongy. Now, it's a game you could play by yourself, but it's best experienced in co-op with others. It is an interesting experience where you can kind of, like, very calmly slide into cooperative missions with others, or you could play it by yourself, or you could just have private sessions set up. And you're basically going about exploring and saving the city and, trying to figure out what's going on as an operator of the Division. So I actually quite liked the sequel. I liked the first game. I think both of them offer quite a lot of gameplay, a lot of value, and there's a lot of different things you can do within these games as you continue to loot, get better armor, improve your classes, improve your skills and your abilities, and continue to be a powerful asset within this area. I cannot get in there. Oh, is there supposed to be like some kind of alternate path or something like that? Yeah, anyways. So there's like a full map that you can kind of pop up, which is pretty cool. And it'll let you know where you're going, what you're doing, and then you can do like quick matchmaking type things in order to, kind of connect with others. So we could just do a regular matchmaking. Let's do a random main mission. Yeah, let's just do story. Let's just do normal. And then it'll matchmake, and it will try to find us a match that we can join in on to support and help other Division operatives that are out there within the world, which is kind of neat. So there's always something you can do, and always different combat you can have, day-night cycles, there's like some weathering stuff. It's really neat, because this one, is quite different from the first Division, because the first Division is like a bit of a snowy, sort of like holiday type experience where everything went down, whereas now, everything is melted, it's a different time of year, and that opens up different conflict scenarios, but obviously the city is still, quite destroyed and lost, you would say, as you continue to try to take it back as an agent of the Division. It's also still, it's a little bit quieter here in the world now, but there still are quite a few people playing it and enjoying what it has to offer. I just think it's a really great game that I had a lot of fun kind of battling in, doing the different missions, exploring what it had to offer. I thought it was a fine follow-up to what came prior, just in terms of, combat and gameplay and the cover-based system. It's actually quite neat to me, and I would love to see this continued with future, releases and stuff like that. I really did think The Division was kind of a cool series. It had a neat premise to it, kind of displayed places, and not the best of scenarios. It seems like Ubisoft has this thing for like destroying New York and the surrounding area a lot in their recent games, which is kind of funny. But no, it's a really interesting title with different, I guess you would say, factions that are part of it. different conflicts, different enemies. Oh, and there was a multiplayer portion, like competitive multiplayer, that was present here too. I don't know if you're gonna have a lot of luck finding people to compete with in this day, but you know, that was kind of neat. There's also like a dark zone, which is like a PvP scenario as well. So the dark zone is a little bit later, or a little bit different, a little bit more creative, I guess you would say, than direct PvP, where you are essentially going off into this area in order to collect, well, you know, sort of resources or special gear, while others are also doing the same, other real players. So it's kind of like if you played RuneScape, there was this scary outer place you could all go where it was kind of like anything could happen. That is the dark zone. The dark zone is like, welcome to the dark side. You kind of go in there at your own risk, and you try to see what rewards you can gather and stuff like that. This game also has some raids and post content that you can work through. The main story is actually really rather chunky, in my opinion. Like, the main storyline actually takes quite a lot to go through. And then the Warlords, you know, is a little bit extra. With me, the Warlords kind of, again, the issue was grinding to level up to unlock the last mission to do. I always thought that was extremely annoying, because I don't like content that is... Because it's weird, you can do the rest of the stuff, no problem. But you go to do that final mission, and it's like, nope. Gotta be this level, and it's like, really? This like it's the weirdest artificial sort of locking. And it looks like the day's hopefully coming soon. I mean, even at night, it's kind of a very, like, it's a lovely game just in terms of the amount of detail. Not the trash, but just like, you know, all the stuff in here, all the different things you can see. And it looks like we are not having much luck matchmaking. It is a late hour of the night. Well, it's actually early morning now. Let's see. Let us stop that, I guess. Let's see. What are the missions? Did they ever actually change what that was to go and do the final mission thing? Yeah, locked level 40. It's ridiculous. It's just because it's like a grind to get to level 40. It's like, who wants to do this? Let's go matchmake. You can also call for backup too, if you'd like to, and random people that are playing can, you know, kind of heed the call and come in and play with you, which is neat. But just trying to get some, you know, gameplay going on that I can, like, cooperative gameplay to show that off, so you can get an idea of it, because, you know, co-op gameplay is a big part of this, and you can, like, just go and find people to roam with and, you know, stuff like that. There's a lot of opportunities for combat and working together and doing stuff. You know, it's quite a neat setup, and you just get to visit these really large scale areas, because even, like, this is technically like a small portion of the game, because the main, you know, kind of story has a lot more of a bigger area that you get to visit. There's just all these different missions you can do. Like, if you're familiar with the different areas, you visit a lot of landmarks, which is neat. So, you know, very, I guess you would say, iconic places to some, you know, some people that, like, live in these places or have visited them. They'll be like, oh, I know this spot, or I know this, and, you know, that's quite interesting. Whereas myself, it's kind of being like, oh, I've heard of this place, I've seen it in movies or something like that. They always go for the landmarks, which you know, makes the most sense. But yeah, we always have some real entertainment here, kind of going through these different, like, missions and just seeing the combat in action, everything like that, which is cool. So I really like this game. I do think it offers a lot of value in terms of the different missions you're doing, the world you're exploring. The lore of this is quite interesting. They've definitely patched a lot of, like, because, you know, I reviewed this, like, ahead of launch. They've definitely patched a lot of the problems I was having in regards to some of the gameplay mechanics. Whoa! What is going on there? Health drone. Give me a hand. Whoa! Feeling like there's a lot of enemies that are kind of causing problems for me. Yeah, I am definitely screwed. Guess we'll respawn then. Maybe we'll go somewhere else. We go to the Trinity Church. There's that kind of area, which is neat. It's like a little bit more of a residential place. Let's do the animal place, because we're just kind of looking around, showing off the fluidity and stuff. Like, having the 60 FPS is just fantastic here. You know, the first one, when we were looking at it on the Series X, when that one got bumped up, it was really exciting, and then this one getting an update too. It's just, it's great that this sort of legacy title was supported. It does seem to take quite a while to kind of get in, but that's more reliant on not the loading of the console, but like the server that you're joining, if that makes sense, because this is a multiplayer game. Like, this is a massive multiplayer experience, RPG, MMORPG. I know, right? Crazy. But yeah, it just offers a lot for you to do. Like, there is some serious game time that you can get out of this game. Like serious game time, which is quite exciting if you are, you know, somebody that wants to sit here and play a lot of this. And it is still, you know, lively. There's still people you can end up with, which is cool, and different scenarios you can see, and it's just kind of a really fun, engaging sort of game. And yes, the sponginess, it's kind of like, it could be a pain to deal with some of the the enemies and stuff in the world, but it does feel somewhat rewarding to go around in here, and you do get your definite time value out of it, if that makes sense. Like, your time investment, I think, is well worth it. Like most Ubisoft games, there's a lot going on here, right? And then there's like the seasonal stuff that they did, and it just really came across as expansive. Something I could spend a lot of time playing, something I did spend a ton of time playing. Obviously not to the degree of finishing the last bit of the DLC, but that's, you know, that's a different thing entirely, right? That's a grind scenario on that. That's what that problem is. Oh, jeez. Which can be a thing in this one, you know. You could feel as if some of the stuff in this is a little too grindy. I don't know. I did have fun with it. Do watch out for scaling in regards to combat levels and stuff with your friends. But I think for the most part, it really is quite easy. It's like a suicide drone. It really is quite easy to connect with others, find others, and play with others, which is good. And of course, your mileage will vary based on when you're playing and everything like that. And obviously, the game isn't, you know, new as it was, so it's not going to be, you know, as busy at this point, obviously, and going forward. But I think you'll still find players going about doing things. It's neat being in those hub areas where we spawned, because you're seeing... What is that? Oh, because you're seeing all these players together, and that's kind of neat. Because the idea is just like you kind of sync up and you do all these different scenarios and that, and I think that's what makes this kind of cool, is it's just this like living world that you're sort of like all fighting in as little division agents doing their own thing to try to, you know, do the better cause, or come together as a better cause. But I'm hoping if they do eventually end up putting together like a third one or something along those lines, that we see even more of a push to more like post content type things that are more organic, that you're working together to like maybe battle over some regions and stuff. I think that might be quite intriguing as a direction for them to go forward on this series. But for now, I think The Division 2 is a good follow-up to the first one. If you've never played this one, you're actually, you know, kind of really in for a treat in regards to the amount of game time you get out of it if you like the style of gameplay. And that's a big thing, is whether or not you like the style of combat and stuff. You know, obviously, you've been seeing a little bit of looting, so there is a whole system of getting different loot and different weapons and armor and stuff to improve your character so you're more combat effective. You know, that's part of it, and these random events too that kind of pop up. So stuff like this, but I think even more kind of pushed into like maybe some factional type things might be interesting if they do continue this series. I just think there's a lot more here for the Division going forward, if that makes sense. I think just the potential for them to do some really neat things with this series is certainly here. I felt that was the case with the second one, and I want to see it go even further. Where are these? I'm seeing these red bars, so there's definitely like enemies around here. Trying to save these hostages, right? Because it's what we do. We save the hostages. So yeah, good game. Definitely a lot of fun. Great time. If you can grab a buddy, you know, or two, jump in here and have some fun and battle these enemies and, you know, try to survive all of your different trials and stuff. I think you'll have a really good time with it. And I'll just continue with a bit more regular gameplay just so you can see in action, and I hope you enjoyed this look at the Division 2 here. Hello, hostage. You're welcome for saving your life. It's just what we do as divisional agents. Bounty added. Alrighty.
The target is nearby.
Blocked. I got one right over there. Run on the way.
Okay, kiddos. Time for some basic economics. People have been writing me in to tell me about this new currency the Rikers have been minting at the Federal Reserve, and how it's our best option for a working economy. Don't believe it. Here's the thing about gold. She can't eat it. All this, if you ask me, is a government ploy.
Civilians in danger.